Hey there, it's Hugo here from Azure Marketing, and today we have a really exciting video or interview, as you may call it, with one of our long-standing clients who we've been working with for 6+ months by now. Now, when Greg came to us, he had experienced two main things. Number one, he was sick and tired of having to switch to different marketing programs, learn new things, new systems, learn how to do things himself, learn how the company does their things, and he was just sick of it. He was tired to death of always having to switch over to new companies. And the reason for that, coming on to the second point, is he was consistently disappointed with every single company he used. Now, in the span of 10 years, he used 10 companies, okay? And he literally told me on that first call I did with him that he was just over it. All of them disappointed him, and he just couldn't understand why nothing would work. On this video here, you're going to find out why Greg says that we are the best company he's ever used, why he gave us a 5-star Google review, and why he thinks that, as well as walking through the exact things that we did to help him consistently grow and say that we are the best company he's ever used. So I'm looking forward to you watching through this video, taking away those key insights. And if you have any questions, leave a comment below, or you can text us or email at us in the description below. So we're super excited. Take a look at the video, and we're keen to hear your thoughts.
So hey everyone, it's Bradley here from Azure Marketing. I'm here with Greg from Gracie, Baja, Northville in Michigan. We've been working together now for about 5 months, I want to say, 5.5 months roughly. And I just want to introduce him to you guys. We've been generating on average between 10 to 15 members or signups per month here. And I guess before we start, Greg, can you kind of introduce yourself and tell a little bit about your backstory, how you got started when you started the gym, how you got into jiu-jitsu, what inspired you to do so?
So I've been in the business for about 10 years, started out with a partnership, and then decided to go my own way a couple of years ago, and opened up my own location. And it was a big struggle to start. Part of my backstory was, as I signed a lease, I was getting, unbeknownst to me, I was getting let go from my current engineering job. So was scrambling to get the facility up and running, and I didn't have any marketing. I didn't have any website. And we went from basically an open shell building to running classes within a month. It was pretty crazy. I don't advise you go that route, but sometimes circumstances require that. And I tell you, my biggest struggle in this business has been finding a good marketing company that can bring leads in, have reliable contacts. We tried to do it internally with a number of people that are very dedicated to the gym, but between them and myself, we have day jobs. We just couldn't get to the leads and make the contacts as quickly and as reliably as we needed. And once I found Azurian here, these guys have solved all the problems that I have. It's like I don't worry about it. I don't stress about it. And the results have been really awesome. That's why I signed up for a 6-month commitment with them going forward here.
Awesome. I appreciate you giving that little testimonial there. Kind of one of the things I was gonna ask is what was the main problem you were facing before you were with us? And it seems like it was just you had gone through other marketing agencies. And I guess what was the biggest frustration with that, or specifically with the ads? I'm not saying to name any names of other companies or anything, but just like, I guess, what was the biggest issue that was there and then now isn't there, I guess, with working with us?
For me personally, the biggest issue was the phone calls. Talking to people, letting people know that there's a real person on the other end of the line. We were just very sporadic with it. Other agencies started to make calls, but they wouldn't call on the weekends. They wouldn't call past a certain hour, and it was a partial solution, but not a complete solution. So the fact that you guys call outside of very select times, holidays and whatnot, you're right on top of the leads. That's great. Some of the other issues I've had is follow up. I mean, you guys are the best I've worked with at making sure you're following up with me. In the past, it was always a pull signal. Hey, can we have a meeting? If things weren't going well in the marketing, it was me constantly reaching out. You guys, we'll check in. You guys make sure that I'm making our scheduled meetings. If I miss a meeting, you get on me like, hey, Greg, we got to reschedule.
Yeah.
And as a business owner, that really helps because we all have priorities, and I don't have a problem being pushed when it's something that's going to help me.
For sure. Yeah. And I'm glad that you don't get annoyed by me doing that either. I'm glad you appreciate that because it's
I
part of my job and part of getting you the best results as well. So I'm glad that you appreciate that. Um, I guess is that if you had to pick one thing, and I'll end on this and then I want to jump into the sales funnel stuff. Um, I guess if you had to pick one thing that you do like the most or value the most about working with us, what is that one thing? Is it the follow-up? Is it the phone calls? What is it specifically as a whole that you think is the biggest value that we add?
It's tough to pin it down to one thing, but I would say the system that you guys have in place. That's probably, let me say two things. First one is calling people and the consistent follow-up. The second thing is the feedback that we give to you guys. The way you guys do the feedback, and I can just send that email with the information and it goes into your system. I don't have to go in and jockey around in the system. It is such a simple thing to do. And at the end of the night, when I'm tired, I've worked my day job, I've worked at the gym, and I just want to get out of there. The fact that I just click on those emails, respond to you guys, and it's done and taken care of is amazing. Like it has taken. It seems like a little thing, but it's taken so much off my plate mentally that it's just awesome.
That's good to hear. That's super good to hear. And I mean that is part of it, right? Like we're here to save you time and obviously make you money, and that's the goal here. So the idea that we're making it more efficient than it was or than you've experienced is really good to hear.
I mean,
Regarding that, sorry.
you guys both. You're making me money and you're saving me time. I mean, it's a double whammy. It's great.
Yeah, awesome. I'm glad to hear that. And I appreciate that little testimonial you gave there. I guess jumping into kind of your back end process of things, can you walk me through kind of from A to Z, like when somebody comes in your door, or even if you do end up giving them a call before, what does your sales process look like, and how do you convert someone? How do you make them feel comfortable? What are your kind of tidbits there that you think are important for somebody else to know maybe in the industry?
Okay. As best I can, I like to personally call leads an hour before they come in if I have the availability and just say, hey, my name's Greg. I'm the owner. I know you've been contacted a number of times, but I'd like to see if there's any last minute questions you might have, and ease any concerns. I think that personal touch has helped. Typically when people pick up the phone, they're coming in, not all the time, but it's just one more little step to, if they're on the fence, to get them in the door. You got to have when they come in the door, you got to have a clean facility. I got rid of my entrance rug because the ends were curling up, and like we have a really very nice new facility. And I was like, man, the first thing people see when they come in is going to be a messy, curled up rug. Granted, the rest of the facility looks great, but I was like, no, like it's got to look good from the instant they walk in. So when they come in, they come up to the front desk. If we see someone new, we'll wave them in to come up to the desk. We have our desk in the middle of our facility, not right at the front, right? So you kind of have to come in, get in the facility. I think that's important. So people are not like on the outskirts when they first come in. And then we'll ask them about their background. I'm genuinely curious about their background, why they came in. I ask them what their priorities are. We have them fill out a waiver on paper. On the back side, we have some questions asking if they have any medical issues or some other thought starter questions. What do they want to get out of the class? How long have they been thinking about it? So it's some thought starters. So when it comes time to the closing process, we can go back to them. And when we say, hey, you said you wanted to get X, Y, and Z out of the class. Here's what we offer to give you X, Y, and Z. Do you agree? You get them saying yes to start, the closing process.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So trying to build that rapport beforehand. When they get on the mat, we pair them up with an experienced student to help them through the classes. And Then when we come off the mat, we have a set closing process, which you want me to kind of go through that in detail here, Brent?
Yeah, please. I think that'd be awesome.
Okay. So I've learned a lot over the years, and one of the things I try to do is make it so completely stupid simple to sign up that even if you're not sure, you're going to sign up. So we have two ads that are running right now. We have a 10-day free trial, but we also are we just running the 10-day free trial? Or are we?
As far as what we're running, we're just running the 10-day free trial at the moment. Yeah.
Okay. So in the past, that's done really well. But when people come in, we say, hey, we have this 1-week money back guarantee. So if they want to do the 10-day trial, at the end of the 10 days, their membership price is going to be about $40 more per month. We tell them when they come in that they sign up today, they get $10 off per week. We do weekly pricing, so about $40 per month. They get a discount on their uniform that are going to save them $75 to $100, and they get a 1-week money back guarantee. So basically, when you come in, it is literally zero risk to sign up. You're going to save about $600 over a year of training if you do this. And the only thing you lose is 3 additional days of basically a free trial, right? So it is literally no risk. So when people come in, the goal is to get them to write that make that first payment, right? Get them to trust you a little bit. And I have, between December and January, we've had 4 or 5 people, they were on the fence. They took the money back guarantee. They got their money back. I had someone write a review so other people who are questioning can actually go look at the review. But it's been great to get people to sign up. Like, I personally want people to make quick decisions. I tell people I'm very upfront. Like, if they're on the fence, I'm just frank. And I say, I know when you leave the door, you're probably not coming back. Maybe it's going to be the wrong decision for you. I said, I want people to make a quick decision because I don't chase you, and I don't. Very rarely do I follow up if they don't leave. Maybe I'll make one call. But I don't dance around things anymore like I used to. It's kind of like, hey, here it is. Make your decision, and if it works, great. If not, that's okay. I hope you find a place that works for you.
Mm-hmm. And I guess just kind of piggybacking on that super quick, one of the reasons, like, you don't follow up, it's part of your system not really to follow up super heavily, but part of that is because you have that money back guarantee in place. So if somebody has signed up, which you make it so stupid, easy, simple, and almost dumb to walk away from that offer, they then have to reach back out to you if they want to cancel. Otherwise, they're in the membership, they're a part of it, they're likely coming in for classes, and they're happy with their decision. So you don't have to do any follow-up necessarily, right?
Yeah, it's been great because normally when people don't come in, you're like, well, you try to find a way to follow up with them, and that stinks because they don't answer the phone. Most of the time, they'll ghost you anyway. And for those looking online, there's a guy online called Jeremy Miner. And I tell you, one of the best things I've gotten from him, I haven't subscribed to any of his things, but he has a lot of free stuff, online to try and get you in there, is he talked about positioning yourself. It used to be that, like, I would, like, talk to people and say, hey, when will you be free so I can, get a hold of you? And it basically, like he says, it positions me lower than the person. Instead of going, okay, well, if you want to get back with me, I have these or that times, I have a few minutes here or there. And you're positioning yourself as, I'm not the person that has a problem that we're looking to solve. The student coming in is the person that has the problem. I have the solution. So don't cut yourself short. Don't like go out there begging to get a hold of them. And I think that really works. Well, I know it really works, and I don't do that. And like I say, I'm very frank with people. I'm comfortable doing that. And, if I do call people and have to leave a message, I don't ask, when can I call you back? The other slogan that Jerry Miner says is, hey, you came in, you wanted these things. How do you want to proceed from here? And leave it at that. Right. So you're making the inquiry, but you're not like, you're coming out of that from a position of power.
Yeah, and then getting clear on where their head's at, right? Like where, tell me honestly, where do you want to go from here? Where makes sense for you? And then from there, if there are certain objections that you can answer or questions you can answer or things you can handle with that, you can do that. But that guy, that Jeremy guy, he's been ever since I think it was 2, 3 months ago, you recommended him to me. He's been coming up on my feed and he does have great stuff. I've
Yep.
been thinking about investing in him because specifically Azurion, the owners Sam and Hugo, they give everybody who works for the company an education budget. So like I can go and buy programs for self-development. He's like top of the list. Him and then a Tony Robbins program right now is what I'm looking at. So thank you for recommending that because even just the videos and tidbits I've gotten, which I know what you're talking about with the positioning as well, it's super powerful and super engaging as well. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, just little
Um,
things like I think have really turned it around. And as martial arts instructors, when I first started in this business and we opened up our first gym and you have nobody, like you're kind of desperate, like you got to get
yeah,
people in. That desperation shows through. Um,
for sure.
and it certainly helps when people come in and there's a full class where you have to go, you're questioning me. We have 20, 30 people on the mat right now. Like I, it's easier to come from a position of strength in that case, though.
Of course. And I guess, what do you think, since you've started in this business, what do you think you do most differently now compared to when you started? And maybe it's what you just told me. Um, but what do you think that is, that the biggest like changer and maybe the biggest needle mover for you that you've done?
Um, I think from a marketing and sales standpoint, I'm a lot more aggressive. Like if things don't work, I'm cutting them off quickly. In the past, you get something set up, and as an engineer, like I want to have that consistency. But I went through a number of marketing companies really quickly here this year because they weren't working, and I'm like, I don't have time to mess around. So being able to make changes quickly, uh, and being okay with that is a huge change from where I was.
Mhm.
Um, I'm also quite honestly, if we're martial arts instructors, maybe we're black belts. Like we have to be black belts behind the counter if we're behind the counter and on the mat. You know,
Mhm.
I think I'm a very nice and gracious person, but I'm also firm. Like I've gotten to be a lot more firm with people, and like Brad and I were talking earlier, we have this discount offer if you sign up the day you came in. Just this past week, I extended that a couple days to someone because I thought he was going to sign up. He seemed like he'd be a good student, but he didn't want to sign up right away because he was going to go check out one of my competitors. Right? That's dumb. Like I should not be extending a benefit to someone who's going to go check out one of my competitors. If you join there, that's great, but like you need to lay down the law. And
Mhm.
one of the things I learned early on, and I saw backfire on my former partner, was he doesn't do this anymore, but he used to when he first uh, opened his business. He would kind of let people negotiate with him on what their tuition would be, right? Terrible, terrible thing to do because now like you just got a black belt to conform to what you, a new student, wanted to do, and you lose all kinds of credibility that way. So you got to have your policies, stick with them, don't waver outside of maybe some special circumstances, but man, it is what it is, and just don't waver. You're the one with the solutions they're coming to you with for.
Mhm. Yeah, that definitely makes sense there. And I guess I just have a couple more questions here, and then we'll wrap up. Um, One of them is kind of, how do you handle, and or what is your mindset behind handling common objections like, I need some time to think about it, or I need to check my schedule. Like, do you have any sort of tidbits or even just a general word track that you maybe use in those situations, or that you train your staff to use in those situations?
I'm getting better. I'm not still great at handling objections. You hit on, the common objections, the schedule. We talked earlier, Brad and I separately, about the spouse excuse. Hey, I got to check with my spouse.
Hmm.
Uh, in the past, I've tried to cut them off beforehand, before they come in, asking people, hey, here's our schedule. Make sure it works with your schedule. Does anyone else need to be part of this decision? Because we offer some discounts when you come in, and we want you to have the available option. That's pretty good. Sometimes if people have a spouse objection and they like, well, can I think about it tonight? Like, I'm pretty firm now in saying, look, here it's right here, because it's literally no risk. You can sign up, you can go home and talk to your spouse, and if it's, hey, it doesn't work out, you get your money back, right? So there's no reason. Again, I think that's more what I'm trying to do, is make it so stupid simple, to walk out without signing up and not wavering on that. That's a really big factor.
For sure. Yeah. And just making it, yeah, there's no risk, right? Like if you need to go talk to your partner, that's fine. Let's just get some commitment now. And then you can get your money. If you don't want to do it, it's not the right decision for you. I'm not going to hold a gun to your head and make you do this. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think that's huge, and something I don't see enough gyms doing, which I know I talked to you previously about. The last two questions here.
Can
One
I
is,
one thing there, Brad,
please,
before we get to the last
yeah,
two?
please.
Part of it too is I was never good at sales, but I also wasn't, when I just got into the business, I didn't know what I was doing. I wasn't confident in what I was offering. And I tell all of my people that are doing sales, we all do it a little bit differently, but I said, man, you got to have a story, a really impactful story that like is in your heart, like that they know is genuine when you come out, that you can share with people, and have the confidence to know that you have a really good product, and maybe find out what your best feature is of your gym. With us, we have people tell us it's our culture, and that's what I've aimed to be. And I tell people we have phenomenal culture with our people, and hit it home and tell people that not every gym is like that. And something I learned years ago from a guy was basically like, there are bad gyms out there, right? So as good gym owners, if you believe you are a good gym owner, it's your obligation to make sure you're steering students into a good gym. I feel terrible if I didn't do a good sales presentation and they went to a gym that wasn't a good gym, and maybe they're there for a year or two, realizing, man, I'm not learning anything, and I'm spending a ton of money. Like, you've kind of done them a disservice by not selling them hard.
Hmm. Yeah, that's huge, and that's something that even I need that advice sometimes. But in general, like nobody wants to be a used car salesman, and everyone thinks that that's what sales is, but it's not necessarily that. Especially when you have a product that's actually impacting people's lives in such a positive way,
Yeah.
like jujitsu, like Muay Thai, or any sort of training in martial arts. It makes sense that you're doing them a service. They're looking for this solution. They're looking to better their lives. And without you getting that commitment, you got to think about it. It's a tough thing to start a new skill, to go to a new gym where you don't know anybody. It's scary. There's a lot of friction there. So if they don't put any commitment in, if they leave after that first class, like you said earlier, the likelihood that they're going to come back is slim to none, because they have nothing pulling them, that they've made a commitment, or they've even verbally said to you, yes, I'll come in on this day. If they haven't made any strict commitment, the likelihood that they're going to stay on their couch and not go do a new skill and try to learn something, and be around people who are new to them and build a new community, that's a hard thing to do. So
Yeah.
it's part of your obligation, like you said.
Yeah, and we kind of, the way we have our membership set up, and most gyms, just have a monthly tuition, is set to reinforce that. Like, we've had a couple of people ask us, do we have, in fact, one of my coaches, like, hey, do you have like, punch cards, or if people want to sign up for X number of classes, can they do that? And I was like, I am absolutely not doing that. A, I'm not going to try to track how many classes someone came in for. But B, if you purchase 10 classes and don't show up, but like once a month, you're not losing anything. There's no pain, right? When there's a monthly tuition and you're not showing up, you're throwing money away. There's that pain and that to force you to come in. And I want that in my students. It makes you a better student. So yeah, if anybody does that out there, like purchase a certain number of classes, I don't know, maybe it works for you. That's great. I will never do that. I want that in the back of the person's mind to know, I was lazy today, I didn't get out and train, I lost that opportunity. It's not coming back.
Totally. And it's the same thing with any sort of training, really. I do the same thing with my weightlifting gym. So I don't like, that's part of the reason I go. It's because I know I'm paying for that whole month. It's like, I better get my money's worth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So definitely makes sense there. Last two questions here. One is just generally broad. Do you have any sort of advice or tidbit or anything you'd like to share with other gym owners, whether it's in jiu-jitsu, whether it's in any sort of martial arts, that you kind of feel like would be worth sharing? And if not, then, it's okay. We can skip this question. But
No, I think that the biggest thing is, when people come in through that door, I think we all know this as martial arts instructors, right? It's very nerve wracking. Like I don't get nervous probably like a first time student when I travel and visit other gyms, but you still go in, you're like, I don't know, are these guys going to try to murder a 55-year-old black belt, or are they going to be nice? Being nice, uh, shaking hands, making sure people are greeted as soon as they come in. When they come in, if there's other students there, introduce them to other students immediately. I still have to get my students to, like, guys, come up here, shake their hand. We've done this before. Make them feel as welcome as possible. Don't beat them up on day one. It's amazing to me, and the gyms that are around me, I honestly don't wish they would keep doing this because they're hurting people. But if they do, it's bringing students to me, because of that culture. And one other thing I do after class, like, we now like give everybody who comes in for the first class a big round of applause, because it is a big step coming in. Like, just do those things to make people feel welcome, right? And if they don't join, at least they know you're decent human beings in the building.
for sure, 100%. I think that's great. And I think that's great advice, not just for martial arts, but in general for life and how we treat people. So
Sure.
thanks for that. Um, last question here. I'm going to kind of piggyback to what we talked about in the beginning of the call. If you were going to say something to somebody who's on the fence about working with us, like about working with Azurion, I guess what would you tell them? Because I mean, it totally makes sense that somebody might be skeptical of a marketing agency they met online, and maybe you even had a similar experience of feeling that way in the beginning. So I guess what would you say to somebody who's on the fence now that you've been working with us for almost 6 months?
So when I first approached you guys, I look at it. I pretty much, if I saw or see a marketing company online, I'll call them up, set up a consultation, see what they have to offer, see what I have to learn. Um, I like what you guys had to offer, but you were a little bit higher price than the company I was currently with, and things were just kind of started with them. Um, and then I started to look at the lost opportunity costs, right? Of if they're not performing, like, how many students do I need to cover whatever increased cost I'm going to take from any endeavor, be it marketing or rent or employees. And I'm like, it's only like one or two or three students will cover any additional cost in perpetuity. Like, that's dumb if I think the service is going to be better. I, in 10 years, have worked with a minimum of 10 different marketing companies. And I really struggled when I opened this business up 2 years ago to try and find someone that I could count on. And I can tell you, I would love, like everybody, for the cost to be lower, but it's absolutely worth it. Okay. When I'm signing up the people that I'm signing up, just in January, we got like 13 to 14 people through you guys, plus some other walk-ins. We're at 20. It's a no-brainer. Previous company I was with got me, in a span of 2 months, 6 members total in those 2 months. First month with you guys, we were in the 10 to 15. So I've seen enough marketing companies. I've dealt with enough people that I have a high degree of confidence in what you guys do. You guys have the best process that I've seen, the best follow-up, calling people. Marketing companies are only starting now to do that. You guys, as far as I know, are the tops of the list as far as that level of communication. You get to see everything that's going on through the systems that you're using. I can see all the communications. And it was pretty easy for me to sign on for another 6 months. The results have been great. And you're probably one of the only companies in anything I've done in the gym where I'm always hesitant. We talked about this right up front, of putting a bunch of money down up front, because so many people will take that money and then they disappear, and you got to fight to get any service out of them. I've had that happen so many times in the past. And you guys are the only people that I've done this with, and you have followed through and continue to follow through on your end of the obligation.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome to hear, and I'm really glad that I knew that that's where you're at. It's cool to hear it in the actual form of me asking that direct question to you. So I'm super happy to hear that. I'm excited to keep going forward, and sorry about your past with certain things. Not even just, I know it's not just about marketing agencies. I know you've had your things with photographers and paying people in full, and then somebody walking out or losing the footage and things of that nature. I know are extremely frustrating.
Yep.
So I'm glad that we didn't add on to that in any way, and of course we wouldn't. But yeah, either way, appreciate the time for this interview, Greg. And I guess if you have anything else you want to say, feel free. You have the floor. But otherwise, we'll end it here.
Yeah, one last little thing. So, like when we started off, I think we're all in this business. No, it takes a little bit of time to ramp things up. I think the way the internet goes with Facebook marketing, it shouldn't take too much time. Like in the past, people like, oh, well, the first guy I had 2 years ago was like, well, it could take like 2 months before we ramp up. And I'm like, man, like if it doesn't go well, that's 2 months of lost time. Right. And so with you guys, it turned around pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
We had most of our systems in the school in place, so it was just a matter of turning the crank and getting people to come into the gym. But I've talked to people that like they're here for a month and they weren't getting the results that they want and immediately wanted to bail. Even the previous company I was with, I was like, I gave them a couple months, even though it wasn't going well. I encourage you guys, look, if you have the first month isn't great, sometimes that happens. You might have to tweak the ads or the offers. To me, it seems like our current offer of the 10-day free trial, coupling it with the sale when they come in, has been working great. I like that offer. In the past, we had a guy who did okay, but he was offering like a 1 month, like 4 weeks for $49 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest, I hate that. I hate it. If it works and that's the best thing in your area, great. But I hate it because I hate to track people for a month. People know when they come in what they want to do. So anyway, there's just some other thoughts, but you gotta give it a little time. Work with these guys. They're very open to making changes. I've asked them to make a lot of changes, and I think they've incorporated it into my account that they're willing to do things I've seen that have worked in the past. So keep the communication open, and I highly recommend Azurian for your martial arts marketing.
Appreciate that, Greg. Appreciate that. Excited for the future together. Thanks for the interview. Hope you have a good rest of your weekend.
My
Take
pleasure.
care, man.